Welcome to My Healthy Mind. I'm Elizabeth Atkins. For those of us who are getting older, which is all of us, life changes. It's inevitable. For seniors, life's changes can be especially challenging. Growing older is fraught with loss. Loss of health, loss of mobility, loss of friends, often a loss of income, and eventually a loss of independence. But growing older is also rich in gains. Gains in experience, gains in perspective, gains in the accumulated wisdom of a lifetime. Today, we take a backward and a forward look at what it is to grow older with a remarkable woman who spent 91 years on this earth figuring it out. Let's talk about it. Irene Miller, welcome.
Thank you. I am glad to be invited.
Irene, you've had a long and fascinating life, from a child Holocaust survivor to an active, vocal advocate for the aging population. What has kept you going like this for all these years?
I did not prepare a plan in advance of my life for aging, but in retrospect, it is the kind of life that I lived, focusing both on the physical aspects, the cognitive, the social. But how we end up is the outcome of the life you lived.
We often talk on this show about the mind-body-spirit connection in relation to well-being. So how have those three components come into play for you as you've aged?
Yes, I strongly believe that you cannot separate one from the other, yes. And talking about age, if I might add this, I always say that age is not just the day you were born, because we have a physical age, an emotional age, a psychological age, and so on. I had always focused on being physically active. I was a jogger for many, many years. And then when I wasn't able to jog anymore, I still put in 4 miles of walking daily. 10,000 steps is my baseline. I never abused food. And for me, a woman whose childhood was predominantly starvation during the Holocaust years, I am surprised myself that I don't indulge I like to eat. But I never abuse myself in too much eating, yes. What probably helped me is I have been always looking to be involved and think beyond myself. I feel that living life for yourself alone and not feeling a part of a larger community narrows very much your potential to grow as a human being. So I've always felt that I needed not just to be a part of a community, but to give to the community. And it comes to me so naturally to give of myself.
Irene, can you talk about positivity and how you incorporate positivity?
In my life, I had had extremely difficult periods. I have great losses after the Holocaust. And I always found something positive to cling to. I think the ability to find in the most darkest of situations something positive to cling to is extremely helpful. And not just that, don't think of what you are unable to do. Think of what you are able to do.
And what about the art of letting go?
Yes, letting go is important, because if you carry everything that you with you, we end up with very heavy luggage. There are times of reflections. I do have times, I cannot even know when those will come up. Something triggers and I reflect on one thing or another. But I don't live my past. I always live the today and the tomorrow. And with it, with the past comes also, we each, hindsight, make some mistakes. Mm-hmm. I don't dwell on it.
You forgive yourself?
My approach is I did the best I knew how under the circumstances. And if I can learn from it, that's what I use to learn. Would I have done differently now? Yes. But then that's the best I knew how to do. By the same token, sometimes you will fail. That's okay. You just pick yourself, learn from it, and keep on going. Yes. Mm-hmm. People say that sometimes the greatest lessons we get is from learning from failures.
And as people age, losing a spouse, a partner, is a big issue. How did you cope with your dying husband?
As we age, our world shrinks. We lose a lot. And reaching the age that I am, I had time to lose a lot of very important people in my life. It is a painful experience. And talking about painful experiences, I have reached a point in my life, I don't know when and how, but throughout life, that I learned how to experience pain, yet enjoy life fully. Not to be overtaken by pain. There are moments that one takes over, but I have a full joy in living. And you know, I get emotional about that. I lost 2 children. My daughter Naomi, a gifted, beautiful young woman, an author that worked in the film industry, was killed in a traffic accident at the age of 28. My oldest son died about 3 years ago. And I sometimes ask myself, how is it possible for me to find joy in living with losing 2 of my children? When tragedies happen, and the same thing applies to your question, your husband. When tragedies happen, when painful experiences happen, you have a choice of either crawl into the bed, pull the blanket over your head, or decide that you are going to live. And with me, the instinct is to live. So, and the same thing, losing a husband, the adjustment after a while. How do I create a new life for myself? With the pain there, but how do I create a life for myself? And by the way, I do have a partner. You might call it a significant other or whatever. And the important thing is, if I may add here, if you are in a situation that you are alone, single, and you meet a man of potential, never compare it to the previous people who were in your life. Never compare it. View the person as he or she is. And what are the joyous occasions that you can share? So this is the whole principle of life goes on, and live fully.
Next time you need to see a doctor, don't go to a doctor. Call Team Wellness Online. With Team Wellness Online, you can see a doctor or a therapist without waiting, usually within 24 hours. Your televisit is private and 100% secure, and you can take all the time you want. So next time you need to see a doctor or therapist, call Team Wellness Online at 888-813-TEAM to make a virtual appointment, and we'll come to you.
Irene, what about the spiritual part of the mind-body-spirit connection? Are you spiritual or religious?
It all depends what you mean by spiritual or religious. By the standard definition, I would not be considered religious, but spiritual, yes. And I will tell you my concept of spirituality. To feel strongly connected to the world at large, and to the world, I mean to the people, to the trees, to the birds, and all that. I feel that I'm a part of this universe. I benefit from it by having all that beauty around me. And it's also my responsibility to contribute to that beauty.
Irene, what about the role of love as an extension of spirituality?
There is so much I can talk about that, about love. When we talk about love, there are various loves, of course. Love for your children, love for your friends. I don't like to use the term love for food. I love it, a thick steak or something. That for me is not love. And by the way, I don't like steaks. But love for me is towards humans, yes. And I have felt all throughout my life that it is important for me to have a loving partner. And this doesn't change with age. And love is to give and to receive. It's equally important, feels good to give love as to receive. And I don't remember if I mentioned my partner, Bob, yes, whom I met. We are together 9 years.
Oh, wow.
We live in separate houses. We have our separate finances, but we share a life, and we are committed to each other. My son, Dan, who is a psychologist, told me that one of his patients, one single woman, complained about loneliness and inability to reach out because she's maybe too old for it. And then my son says, Mom, I used you as an example. You were in your 80s when you met Bob.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes. We are never too old to love and to receive love.
So, Irene, that's beautiful, the way you've summed up the mental, physical, and spiritual components of aging. You mentioned having a sense of humor. How is that helpful?
Oh, sense of humor is extremely helpful throughout life. You will come across situations that look kind of ridiculous. You know, sometimes it feels it's almost pathetic, but then if you look at it from a sense of humor, you can laugh at it and not get too upset and to get involved in a negative way. You know, with a sense of humor comes also the element of putting things in perspective. And my question always comes with putting in perspective, how will it change the quality of my life or someone else's life? I think I mentioned in some situation a friend, a very dear friend, who was extremely upset because the decorators didn't do exactly the curtains as she wanted them. They were, I think, a half an inch too short or too long, and she got so upset. And I said to her, Mary, how will it change the quality of your life? It is just a curtain. And sense of humor to look at things that are funny. By the way, laughing is a wonderful therapeutic remedy. if you don't hesitate, if it's funny, to laugh as much as you want to, yes. It feels so good. In particular, if you have a friend, a companion that you can both find fun in some situation, do a belly laugh, it's great, yes.
Irene, it seems that you must have a highly developed survival instinct to have endured and thrived in spite of so much adversity. Would you say that's true?
Yes, I don't know if it's an instinct or it's a developed skill over time. It's probably more a developed skill. And if I could stress one element that helped me in all survival, is to find something positive in every situation, to cling to something positive, to put things in perspective, and to take things in with a sense of humor. That was the tools, if I were to mention, that probably helped me throughout life.
And can you talk about your background, your parents, your family?
My parents, first of all, I lived with my parents only until the age I was 7. This is when the Holocaust started and everything was completely disrupted. My parents taught me being the role model in some ways. There was never an actual teaching, you should do this or you should not do that. They were very committed to social justice. We were far from well-to-do. My father was a furniture maker. But their home was almost empty, almost available to bring people in. I remember friends would come in. My father was the leader in the labor union in the Jewish section. And I remember friends would come in and they would say, referring to me, she'll be a leader like her father. She'll be a leader as her father. And as I look back at my background, I was a leader in most situations that I was involved. And it was not a conscious decision. It was just kind of a sense of that I need to take responsibility, that something needed to be done, and ended up a leader in many situations. I went through life with a feeling that no matter what happens, I will pick myself up and I will go.
And you know that eventually everyone will die. So how do you think about death, if I may ask?
Well, death is a part of the cycle of living. We all will die. I am not afraid of death. If anything, afraid is of suffering physically or emotionally. Not so much physically. I am more afraid of getting mentally disabled. That would be to be probably the greatest of difficulties. I don't think about it much. I don't. I think of living and I think of making the best time that I have. We never know what is left. I know it's limited just by the fact that I am 91 years old. But you know, I put in 4 miles of walking daily. I'm a docent at the Detroit Institute of Art. I'm a mediator in court. And then I'm a public speaker all over the country. I am grateful for the opportunities I have that were given to me to use my Holocaust experience as a base from which to promote tolerance, acceptance of diversity. And I am extremely busy, invited to speak in quite a range of schools, universities. Within the last 6 months, I probably was in about, I would say, at least 50, 60 places.
Stress, depression, and severe mental illness can happen to anyone. Team Wellness Center has been helping those struggling with these conditions in southeastern Michigan.
No one should ever have to feel so alone.
Within 24 hours of reaching out to our team, members receive psychiatric evaluations and begin the necessary treatment for recovery.
Despite what you've been through, you can overcome.
Team Wellness Center. You are not alone.
SuperAgers are people in their 70s or older who exhibit cognitive function that's comparable to that of an average middle-aged individual. Among other things, SuperAgers have an active lifestyle. They continue to challenge themselves both mentally and physically, like Irene's 10,000 steps. They tend to have a positive outlook. They're social butterflies. They volunteer. They have healthy eating and drinking habits, like drinking coffee and indulging in an occasional glass of alcohol. They don't smoke. They get proper amounts of sleep. They avoid excess sun exposure, and they have structure, routine, and an organized lifestyle that helps them manage stress well.
SuperAgers have an active lifestyle.
I do.
Yes.
I
no?
do.
Yes, okay. They continue to challenge themselves mentally and physically.
I do.
Okay. They tend to have a positive outlook.
I do.
They're social and outgoing.
Yes, I don't have a ton of friends, but I think I am outgoing, yes.
They volunteer.
I do.
They have healthy eating and drinking habits, even drinking coffee and indulging in an occasional glass of alcohol.
Definitely. I don't drink coffee. I would have liked to have an occasional drink of alcohol, but since I am diabetic and don't use any medications, I try to control my diet. But when my companion Bob has a drink and he likes to have a Manhattan or something, I am the official taster. Oh. I am the royal taster.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, I find that when I have a sip of alcohol, I sneeze. I must have developed some allergy. Yes, but I believe in healthy eating.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. SuperAgers don't smoke.
I never did.
Okay. Get proper amounts of sleep.
I do.
Avoid excess sun exposure.
Yes.
Okay. They have structure, routine, and an organized life that helps them manage stress well.
I don't know how structured my life is, but I am not a person with stress a lot. What I do is, if I get upset over something, I sit down with myself and analyze, why did this upset me? And analyzing why did this upset me leads me to want to think either it requires some actions or it says, that's insignificant, forget about it.
Well, considering all of the above, you certainly seem to be a SuperAger.
Well, thank you. I will add it to my titles.
Okay.
Irene Miller, speaker, educator, mediator, and SuperAger.
That's awesome. So, Irene, what do you think is the most difficult part of aging?
Probably the most difficult part of the losses that you occur. Losses in your surrounding, the people, and losses of abilities, what you can do. Losses in physical ability, maybe cognitive ability, and loneliness that can come with it. Those are probably the most difficult things of aging.
And what can people do to lessen the loneliness?
Yes, loneliness is a very, very problematic situation for many aging people. For myself, you know, I do have a companion, Bob, but we don't live together. We spend every day, we see each other every day, spend about 2-3 hours together. But the rest of the time, I am alone. What helps me is sometimes to find a good book, sometimes just putting up music and hearing a voice in the room that I am not alone helps me, yes. And strange as it might sound, in the winter, sometimes putting on the lights, being in a darker room, some affects you, and if I put on the lights, I feel cheered up. Or calling a friend, or doing something for someone probably is the most important thing. Do something for someone, and you are not going to feel that lonely.
Irene, I just have one more question.
Sure.
What do you want to do when you grow up?
Oh, when I grow up, who knows? I will develop all kinds of plans. When I grow up, I might go my hair gray. Okay. I haven't grown up yet.
If you're having any kind of mental health crisis, we can help. At Team Wellness Crisis Centers, you'll be seen immediately, stabilized in our own private facility, and given all the care you need to get better. Don't wait. Call the Team Wellness Helpline at 1-888-813-TEAM. It could be your lifeline.
Thank you for joining us today and sharing the inspiring journey of ageless 91-year-old Irene Miller. If you'd like to learn more about this and any mental health issue, visit us on our website at myhealthymind.com, on Facebook at My Healthy Mind Show, or on Twitter. If you missed any of our past episodes, you can view them on YouTube. You'll find a complete list on our website. And as you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, please feel free to comment and suggest ideas for new shows. We'll see you next week for another edition of My Healthy Mind. Let's talk about it.
Be sure to like and subscribe for more episodes of My Healthy Mind.